Can I shake your hand? It was nice to meet you. I'd like you to think about the way your actions affect other people, not just the white male people in this country, but everybody in this country.
What does being a white person have to do about anything?
So here we got Charlie Kirk, who goes head-to-head with a student pushing classic woke talking points. Charlie Kirk challenges socialism, exposes false claims about systemic racism, and dismantles the idea of white privilege, all with facts. Charlie Kirk doesn't back down, stays calm, and completely takes over the conversation. Let's hear what she has to say to Charlie Kirk.
Economic and social equality. I don't know really what that means, but maybe you could tell me.
Interesting. Yeah, it means that like all people kind of get the same opportunities.
Like Cuba, or like Venezuela,
No, not like Cuba or Venezuela.
or like North Korea.
No, not like.
So, or like how the Soviet Union did it, right?
No, I'd like you to stop like interrupting me. I think that all those examples of like capitalist systems are ones that aren't.
The Soviet Union was not a capitalist system.
Yes, I know. And Venezuela is not a socialist system.
Sure it is. They nationalized their oil and gas reserves. They have nationalized healthcare, nationalized schooling. The government owns the means of production. How is it not a socialist country?
Because because of the history of U.S. interference, socialism cannot be like enacted as it should be.
It also sort of functions under the guise of socialism. I think a lot of the
Venezuela is still corrupt as fuck.
Yeah, but can you show me any socialist country that works?
Yeah, most of Europe.
So maybe Norway, Sweden, or Finland?
Yeah.
But they're more economically free than America.
How so?
On the World Economic Freedom Index, they're ranked higher than America.
And so what does that like mean?
So lower taxes, less regulation. So they're not, I wouldn't consider them to be socialist countries.
They provide healthcare for all their citizens.
So does Cuba. How does that work?
I'm sure
because they're like
Norway, Sweden, Finland also has a homogenous population.
I want to know about this.
yeah,
Why do
so-
you think? Why is that sort of thing
Yeah.
promoted?
Because it's 6 to 7 million people.
They
don't
need a homogenized society.
You don't need. You don't need it
But what is? I don't
Yeah,
even
can
know
you
because
the
explain
they
to
have
me-
they have low rates of immigration.
Can you explain to me why?
And so they
like,
have less people coming in their country every year that need Medicaid equivalent type social programs.
Can you explain to me why?
They have the
having-
strictest immigration policies in Europe, in Norway, Sweden, Finland, and they don't pay for a national military. 70 to 80% tax rates for the highest earners, of which I oppose completely. Sweden has full school choice, which I'm sure you support, right?
I don't.
Oh, okay, but Sweden has full school choice.
I mean,
Sweden's also ranked higher on
if
the
all
world.
schools are funded equally, then yeah, I would support school choice. But the fact is that schools in like richer areas have better funding and thus give people better education, as opposed to poorer areas, and thus poor people who can't afford to like choose that rich school, who can't commute, who can't like afford the tuition, are not going to be able to get that level of education.
So why is it that we've spent more on education in the last 60 years federally, but our test scores have gotten worse? Why do you think that is?
Because testing is not a measure of.
How about graduation rates? I mean, any metric you use, our schools have gotten worse over the last 50
So
years.
funding the
Where have
test
they
is going to
got
fix that.
I'm sorry?
Where have they gotten?
Baltimore. There are 7 schools in inner city Baltimore where they can't find
So
one
probably
kid in
systematic
8th grade.
racism.
Oh, so wait, so do you think America's more racist today than it was in the 1960s?
In some levels, yeah.
Really? You think America's more racist today than it was in the 1960s?
I
Well,
think.
still more racist than it should be.
I mean, yeah, I want to say like, I think like net racism.
I mean,
Do you want it to be more racist?
Yeah,
'Cause that's
because,
what
like-
it seems
No,
like.
it's not. Actually, I think
but
we're
it-
significantly less racist, so you can't blame racism
just
for
'cause
why these
something's
communities
less
are not
doesn't
doing
mean
well.
it's
Really? Could
No,
you not
significantly
blame, like, could you
less.
not blame,
What
for
is your
example,
race metric?
Well, let me okay. So in the 1960s, blacks weren't allowed in the National Basketball Association. In the 1960s, the Civil Rights Act hadn't been passed until 1965. In the 1960s, blacks were not allowed to go to the same schools as whites. So, like, that's my metric. So we passed the Civil Rights Act in
Those are
1965.
just kind of anecdotal.
yeah.
Oh,
those
how
are
about this? We had a black president elected twice in 2008 and 2012.
Oh man, so since a black president was elected, we fixed racism,
we
right?
quintupled. No, we haven't finished racism. We're significantly less racist. So the talking point of the far left is that the inequities that the black community and minority communities are experiencing is because of systemic racism. In order for that argument to be true, America would have had the same sort of amount of racism over the last 60 years, or gotten more racist. Any sort of logical analysis of history would show we're significantly less racist today than they were in the 1960s. So then what is it?
Any level of racism is still racism, dude.
I think there's individual racism, but the idea that there's widespread systemic racism does not exist.
Okay, what about, okay, so here's an example. You guys want to, okay, so up until probably the mid 70s, like neighborhoods could choose not to sell homes to black people. That's why a lot of black people live in like certain like parts of town, you would say, and those are also generally parts of town that have like underfunded schools and stuff like that.
So the Asian community went through the exact same type of discrimination, yet the Asian community is the richest community per race in America.
So are you implying something about the black community?
No, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying the Asian community did not have a series of social welfare programs designed at them, such as federal welfare systems, broken public schools. The Asian community were one of the poorest communities in the 1940s. Now they are the richest community per race in America. How did that happen?
So you're saying black people are...
They were taking advantage. Black people are poor because of the Democrat Party, who got them addicted to government benefits, stuck them in clustered urban areas, put them in broken schools,
Is that
and
the
started a war
Democratic
on
Party
police.
did all of that?
Yes, show me one urban city where there's a Republican mayor. Show me one. Show me one urban area where there's more Republican congressmen than Democrat congressmen.
Like currently?
Yes, or even the last 50 years. It's Democrats that run the urban cities. Oakland,
Yeah,
Portland,
thank fuck.
Chicago, Philadelphia. But these are the most, so you said thankful, but these are the worst parts of America. The most murderous, the most bankrupt, the most hopeless are all run by Democrats.
Yeah, but there's no way you can like make some sort of causation if there's no sort of control for that.
Yeah.
You can't like say it
sure
would
you
be
can.
worse without a Republican. No, there's no way you can make that sort of
listen,
inference.
I'm
It's
glad-
impossible.
so
you
if-
just can't make that inference.
Okay,
You just
so
don't
when-
have data for it. I'm sorry.
yeah, so the
Just
when
stop trying to make
oh,
shit
so,
up.
okay, can I give you examples?
No.
No? Oh, you don't want facts?
They're not
Do facts.
facts.
Do facts bother you?
No.
Okay, so
You
when,
are gonna make up
so
fake facts.
Republicans run cities, municipalities, and counties, have much lower levels of poverty over 30 years, better run schools, more likely to balance their budget, much more business competitive.
That could be
nine
correlation,
out
not
of
causation.
10 of the most business competitive states in America are all run by Republican governors.
That's
And
not
Republican,
fact.
yeah, it is actually.
I mean, that doesn't
Utah, Nevada, Arizona.
that doesn't necessarily have any sort of relevance to your point.
So why would you say that the broken inner cities in America all have Democrat mayors, and the best run states all have Republican governors? Why would you say that?
I would say
is the case?
possibly because people see that Democratic mayors and Democratic government officials can fix the broken system.
Have Democrats fixed anything in the last 60 years?
No, because
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Because we've had a Republican-controlled Congress.
No, we've had a
Congress-
Democrat-controlled president from 2008 to
The
2016.
president does not have like ultimate power over the
No, you're
United
right.
States.
Obama controlled the House and the Senate, passed the health care bill that destroyed 1/6 of our economy, borrowed trillions of dollars, raised taxes, grew government, and then Republicans took back the House of Representatives and
Honestly,
eventually
I
the
don't know
presidency.
why you're so upset when you still have a ton of money, dude.
What do you mean?
I mean, you are.
I'm not upset. You're the one that just swore. I'm actually quite happy and thankful I live in the greatest country ever to exist.
Charlie Kirk stays calm, thankful, and confident, while the student gets emotional, throwing out stuff like white male privilege. But Charlie Kirk doesn't even flinch. He just says he's proud to live in the greatest country ever. That's when you know Charlie Kirk already won.
Yeah, excuse me for swearing. I feel like this entire getup is just you afraid of losing your economic and like white male privilege.
Wait, what privilege do I have as a white person? No, seriously.
He's just ignorant.
Honestly,
no.
you know, it was nice to meet you. Can I shake your hand?
Yeah, but can you
Can I
explain
shake
to
your hand?
me?
It was nice to meet
what-
you.
what-
I'd like you to think
what
about
does-
the
what-
way your actions affect other people, not just the white male people in this country,
No,
but everybody in
what
this
does
country.
being a white person have
Think
to do
about
about
that.
anything?
I actually have a question.
Yeah, can someone explain to me what white privilege is?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, Asian privilege, because Asians in America actually are richer on average than whites in America. And so are Indian Americans, by the way.
Charlie Kirk didn't just challenge the logic, Charlie Kirk destroyed it. Every time the student brought up a woke talking point, Charlie Kirk answered with straight facts. Whether it was socialism, racism, or privilege, Charlie Kirk stayed calm, focused, and ready. No yelling, no name calling, just a masterclass in how to stay sharp under pressure.